Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about my March TBR. I have been doing pretty well with my TBRs this year. I have been trying to keep them short, so putting maybe 5 to 6 books on each one, and that has really helped me hit the books that I actually put on my TBR and read the books that I say I'm going to read, while also leaving a lot of room for some mood reads, just picking up what I want, maybe rereading some things. That's what I did in January, and it has made for a relaxing reading year so far. But it would not be on brand unless I found a way to overextend myself. And the way that I have found to do this in March is just by gathering so many library books. I have been trying really hard not to buy too many new books. I talked about at the beginning of the year how I wanted to make my way through the books that I already own, and I've been doing a pretty good job of this. Last year, my goal was to read, have 50% of the books that I read come from books that I owned at the beginning of the year. And I failed miserably. I did so poorly. But this year I am right on track. 50% of the books that I have been reading so far have all been from my own physical TBR, which is really good considering that in January I did a TBR challenge with Alan at the Library of Alexandria and read a bunch of books that he had picked for me that I didn't own. So despite the fact that I did that challenge, which was really fun, I have still been keeping on track with reading books that I own, and I want to continue to do that. But another way to get to read books that you don't already own and avoid your responsibilities while not purchasing a bunch of new books is to make use of the library. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what was happening, like what kind of mood I was in, but I just went like completely off the wall with my library holds, and I just started putting all of these things on hold, both at my own personal library here in Newfoundland, and then also on the e-libraries that I have access to. So a bunch of books all came in at the same time, and they are going to make up the bulk of my March TBR. There's still only 7 books on here, and then there's one book that's going to carry over from last month, so it's not terrible. But I don't think I'll have a hard time sticking to this because they are all books that are really high up on my priority list. But we will get into them. The very first 2 are buddy reads that I had set up. So the first one is Lonesome Dove. So I'm going to be reading Lonesome Dove with Kyle from Read by Kyle, and then our friend Nikki from the Discord. And there might be other people that are jumping in with us. Sometimes I find it hard. I usually just write one name down in my book. So this one was flagged as a Kyle buddy read, but I'm sure that there are other people who are probably going to jump in. A bunch of booktubers read Lonesome Dove at the end of last year and really enjoyed it. I have seen the Lonesome Dove movie, but I have not read the book. So I am looking forward to reading this. I think my dad owns a copy. I haven't gotten this one from the library. I don't think it'll be too hard to get because it is an older book, but I think my dad owns it as well. So I can probably just pop over to his house and pick that up from him. But I am looking forward to reading it. This is a series, and I don't know that I will continue with the series. I'm just committing to reading the first book right now, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. This has been on my TBR for a really long time because I have had this ongoing challenge that I have wanted to make videos for, which is basically reading the favorite books of my favorite authors. So all of Neil Gaiman's favorite books, Stephen King's favorite books, Joe Abercrombie's favorite books, and then putting together a video to show how their favorite books have influenced their work. And Lonesome Dove was on Stephen King's list. So this is one of the books that I had to read for his list of books. I think it's the last one I have to read for his, actually, and then I will be finished with that one. So I'm looking forward to checking it off the list for that reason as well. After that, the second buddy read is the book I think it's Dog of War. I don't remember if it's Dogs of War or Dog of War, but the picture will be popped up anyway, by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So I am continuing my read through of everything that I can get my hands on that Adrian Tchaikovsky has written. And luckily my friend Colton, who is in the Discord with me, is also a big Tchaikovsky fan, and he is going to be reading lots of his books along with me, which makes it more fun to kind of go through. But this one sounds really strange, really out there. I think it is about biogenetically engineered animals that fight in the army, which sounds really odd, but Adrian Tchaikovsky does really strange things with science fiction and then hooks you into the story in really neat ways. So I think this is a duology. I believe the second one is something to do with a bear maybe, but I am super excited for it. I saw this at the bookstore when I was in the city a couple of weeks ago and I had to pick it up because I am really, really looking forward to reading it. So those are the two buddy reads that I have put in for the month of March. Lonesome Dove will probably take a little bit longer to get through. That might be one that I read in the background along with some other things, but looking forward to both of those. The third book is one of the library holds that I have had on hold for a while actually, and that is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. I am really looking forward to reading this one. This is going to be the next addition to my classic sci-fi review series that I am doing. I have read, I believe, only one book by Octavia Butler so far. I read Parable of the Sower, and I do have the second book in that series, Parable of the Talents, so I'll be reading that sometime this year as well. But I would also like to read Kindred. This is a standalone work by her. I believe that there is a time travel element that is involved in the story, and that's usually not my favorite thing. So I am not the biggest fan of time travel, but I can enjoy time travel stories. So I liked 11/22/63 by Stephen King, and I am hopeful that I will also like this one, but we will see what the time travel elements are and how much that impacts my enjoyment of the story. After Kindred, we have a work of nonfiction. This is one goal that I have been not doing well with this year because I haven't read any works of nonfiction yet. And my goal is always to read at least once a month or 12 for the year. So I have some catching up to do. But this is one that was on my 23 books for 2023. And that is An Immense World by Ed Yong. And he wrote a book that I read a couple of years ago. What was it called? We Contain Multitudes or I Contain Multitudes? I'm not sure, but it was about gut bacteria and microflora inside the body, or microflora/fauna inside the body. And it was fascinating. It was so cool. I also listened to that one via audiobook and I thought it was excellent. I don't know why I said also. I'm not listening to this one by audiobook. I have the hard copy from the library, but I listened to the first one by audiobook and it was excellent. And I'm very much looking forward to this one. This one is more about the natural world and about animals. So that is right up my alley and I am really, really excited to get to that one. I may start that one early. It is possible that that one might be started before March gets here, but I definitely won't finish it before March. But I am really looking forward to it. Next from the library, I have one of my most anticipated books of 2023, and that is The Keeper's Six. I believe this is a novella. I think this was a novella, and it is either a revenge or a rescue. A mom or a woman is trying to rescue or avenge her family. I don't remember the exact setup because Fonda Lee has a book coming out this year called Tethered Sky, which is also a novella, or at least a very short novel, and I believe is also a revenge story in some way. So I think I'm getting the two of them kind of muddled in my head, but they were both on my most anticipated reads list. The Keeper 6 just came up available from the library, so I'm going to read that. This one is a short one, so I don't suspect that it's going to take me a long time to get through, but I hope that it's a good one. I hope that I find something that is enjoyable and that I could then recommend to everybody else. After that, we have Men at Arms, which just became available from my library, and I am so excited to read the next Discworld book. When I got ready to start the City Watch collection, I was a little bit nervous because I didn't think that I could like them as much as I enjoyed the Death books. And Guards ended up becoming my favorite Discworld novel, which was a total surprise. I thought I would like it, but I didn't know how much I was going to like it, and I absolutely loved it. And there are characters that I cannot wait to get back to. I want to see what they're doing, what they're up to, what they're going to do next, and I'm really looking forward to reading that one too. I have no idea what order I'm gonna read these in because they're all kind of due at the library at the same time, and I'm excited to read all of them. So I don't know which one I'll get to first, but definitely looking forward to that as well. After that, the last book that's on the TBR is Under the Hawthorn Tree, and I don't remember the author's name for this one. sorry, had to take a break. There was a dog hair stuck on my face. But the last one is Under the Hawthorn Tree. And this one is from a challenge that I am doing this year. It is, I don't remember the name of the channel, but I will link the video from her channel below. It is a reading challenge that was organized by a fellow booktuber called the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. And she created a series of prompts to go with every month of the year. And each prompt builds on the month before. So it's a really cool challenge. It's a dynamic challenge because what you select will determine what you have to read the following month. And the first book of the year, I think the first prompt in January was read a book that has the or a in the title, and I read The Trouble with Peace. And then the second book, so the one for February, was one that had to have a complementary color to the first book, either on the cover or on the spine. And luckily, The Trouble with Peace and A Wisdom for Crowds do have complementary spine colors. So I ended up reading The Wisdom of Crowds for my second selection for February. And then the third prompt for March is that the title of your March book needs to start with the next letter in the alphabet following like the title of your last book. So my last book was The Wisdom of Crowds. So the first letter of my March book had to start with U because my February book started with T. And I had very few books that started with U. Basically, I had two. So I had Under the Hawthorn Tree and Under the Dome by Stephen King. And I do want to read Under the Dome, but it's just a beefy book. And because there were already so many books on this TBR, I decided to go with Under the Hawthorn Tree, which is a work of historical fiction. And it is much, much shorter. And I've owned it for a really long time. So it'll be a good time to get it off of the physical TBR. But those are the books that I have slated to read in March. I am confident that I'm going to read all of these. I can't see which one I wouldn't end up getting to. I'm really excited to read all of them. I've been looking forward to reading them all. The only way that I won't get to one is if something just gets taken back by the library and I'm not able to renew it. Like if someone else already has a hold on something. And like I said, most of these library books are going to be due around the same time because I was a bit of a like ding dong and took them all out, put all these holds on hold and then didn't suspend any of them or extend any of them. So you know what? I made my own bed. I'm going to lie in it. I'm going to read these books and it's going to be a busy first couple weeks of March, but hopefully a really fruitful reading period. The book that I have to carry over from February is Infinite Jest. I just didn't have as much reading time in February as I thought I would have, and Infinite Jest is also a very beefy book, so I will be continuing to read that. I am doing a reading vlog documenting the process of reading this book, and hopefully I will get it finished sometime before the end of March so I can get that up, and we can all laugh at my pain together. But that is it. That is my March TBR. I would love to know what everybody else is reading in March. If you would like to jump in and buddy read any of these books with me, then by all means, feel free to join the Discord, send me a message. I will be happy to read any of them along with you and love having those kinds of discussions. That's it, and I will see you with another video soon. Bye.